Well, hello YouTube, it's me, Fortmaster, and welcome to a reaction I didn't think I'd be doing. Why Gaster Matters to Deltarune, Part 2! So, in case you haven't seen, this is the sequel to a video I reacted to a few months ago, back in 2013, called Who Dr. Gaster Is and Why That Matters to Deltarune by Misty Sparkles. Now that video is like just over 2 years old, so woe be me in thinking that, you know, there wouldn't be a part 2, but, you know, here we are. Second, I have wanted to do a couple more reactions to Misty Sparkles stuff, but I just haven't gotten the time, unfortunately, but hopefully I can change that. But the thing is, that video was like the first Deltarune / Undertale video that I reacted to that really blew up. It was kind of like what got me started in doing the whole like catching up on like Undertale, or not Undertale, Deltarune lore and theorizing that I've been doing for a little while now. And yeah, I'm just wondering, like, what else does she have to add? Well, anyway, I mean, I've wanted to do another reaction to Misty Sparkles stuff. I just, you know, I keep forgetting, unfortunately. But hopefully this could help kick me back into gear, as it were. So yeah, as always, original videos linked in the description if you haven't seen it for some reason. Corner video will lead to my Let's Play of the day, and if you have any suggestions for stuff for me to react to, you can of course leave it in the comment section below, or you can head over to my Discord server, link also in the description, and like find the channel that specifically is for like linking stuff, like videos for me to react to. But yeah, with all that out of the way, I have a feeling this will be very interesting.
Hello, Deltarune fans, especially the ones that subscribe to me and then were immediately disappointed. 2 years ago, I posted a video called Who Dr. Gaster Is and Why That Matters to Deltarune, and it performed shockingly well.
I know!
In retrospect, it isn't that surprising because it was 2 months after Chapter 2 came out, and Gaster is an interesting subject, and I definitely hit at the exact right point. It was just surprising that me, with my 30,000 subs at the time, managed to get a good hit like that. It was quite nice. I enjoyed my 1 month of livable wage. But I didn't really make any other Undertale or Deltarune videos because I didn't want to be one of those YouTubers that has one hit and then is like, hey everyone, I'd like to announce that this channel is purely Deltarune focused now. I really only wanted to do another Deltarune video if I thought of a good one, and I didn't. I thought of doing a follow-up to Gaster a while ago, but didn't want to seem like I was shamelessly riding my singular wave of success, but lots of other YouTubers do much more shameless stuff, and I don't know what I'm going to get more Deltarune to speculate about, so I think I can get away with doing another Gaster video now. I love my disfigured skeleton man. I hope to one day meet him properly, and then Fangamer can make a plushie of him. Until then, we have to settle for the Uboa pin, I guess. But while I do think the Gaster video is one of my better works, despite me being able to barely edit due to my slowly dying laptop, I do have issues with it. I kind of wrote it in about a week and redid nothing in the process. I didn't cite my sources as well as I could have, some bits dragged a little, I wasn't clear on certain things, and worst of all, I forgot stuff. The most unforgivable crime a YouTuber can commit.
Of course, yes, that's why this part 2 has come out, to fill in the gaps.
Like, I forgot really important, obvious things. I wrote them in the description of the original, but let's be real, no one reads descriptions. Some of them I mentioned in my...
Actually, you'd be surprised at that. The number of people who comment on my videos about stuff I've written about in the descriptions is surprisingly high. Like, of course, it's not, you know, every person, but like, I'll say like, it's probably at least 1 in 25 at the very least. It's shocking. And of course, I'm not talking about the regular people who comment on my videos all the time. I'm talking about like, you know, purely new randoms is the thing.
My ancient Deltarune theory video, but that video was mostly a joke and I'm not pleased with it anymore, so I'll bring them up here. So, welcome to Why Gaster Matters to Deltarune Part 2, I guess. Woo, 2 years later. Thing I forgot, the first. The bunker!
Yes,
bunker.
very important.
I cannot believe I forgot the flipping bunker! What is wrong with me? At the bottom of Hometown, there is an old bunker. If you stand by it, it produces a vague, ominous sound.
Yeah, that's very vague and very ominous. And if you use your cell phone next to it, all you get is garbled nonsense.
If one speeds up this vague, ominous sound by 666%, the garbage noise from entry 17 plays. As such, fans think this is where Gaster is hiding. He just makes that noise wherever he goes.
It's either like ambient noise and he keeps like a boombox or something around him, or like a Bluetooth speaker on him at all times, or at the very least, he is so old that he is like, whenever he moves, that's just the noise that he makes from like the grinding of his bones on bones.
Special attention is called to the bunker in Chapter 2 about how scary all the kids find it, daring each other to go in. More information needed for sure, but the bunker is definitely important, and I think it's completely reasonable to theorize that this is where the final chapter will take place.
Yeah.
That, or it will remain an eternal and intentional mystery, like...
Actually, wait, something I just thought of, and this is not serious at all, but people know about this bunker. It is obviously within like very close proximity to the town itself in, you know, Deltarune. If this is in fact Gaster's bunker, do you think he pays taxes? Because we have no idea how big the parcel of land this bunker is on, and it could be worth major moolah doing literally nothing but making ominous noises.
Like maybe it's a red herring or something.
Oh God,
the second
I would hate if that was the fact.
That reads out Deltarune. Is the same one that was used to create Gaster's voice blips in entry 17. I don't know how much that matters, but it seems relevant to me. Thing the Third.
Oh,
at the start of
okay.
Chapter 1, when presumably Gaster tells you to make a vessel in the files for the games, these are called Goner bodies. Goner is what some of the grayed out Gaster followers are called, Goner Kid and Goner Clam respectively. I find this such a cool detail. It feels almost like confirmation that this voice is definitely Gaster. The Goners are directly connected to Gaster, and now here we are, putting together a little Goner human for our own mystery man.
Huh. Okay. Oh God. So Goner, these little these Goner monsters, and making a Goner human. Though granted, I don't know if the video's come out yet or if I even recorded, but a theory that I'm forgetting what video I watched this was in, but somebody suggested that there was a whole thing involving like the monsters in Deltarune, at least in the normal world, not being able to do magic because it was like taken away by the angel, and as a result they had to be given like actual physical bodies that could potentially hold determination. I wonder if that has something to do with the Goners. Because, like, this whole thing potentially could be, like, an alternate dimension or some sort of weird experiment created by, like, Gaster. Oh my God, wait a second. I just thought of something. So, you know the whole thing about, like, the universe, like, theorized to be a simulation or something like that? What if Deltarune itself, or Undertale, either one, was actually, like, a simulation done by Gaster from the other world? I mean, granted, there's absolutely no proof behind that, but that'd be cool if that actually happened.
A couple tiny things that are so obvious, I can't believe I forgot to mention them. One of the river person's things that they say is, beware the man who speaks in hands.
Oh yeah, of course that one.
Is the font Gaster speaks in, and is composed very notably of a lot of hands, making this one of the only mentions of Gaster that you don't have to be ridiculously lucky to find. There's not a lot I can do with this information, but I will say the beware in this sentence makes me wary. Like, yeah, he drove two perfectly good manlets to legal insanity. Beware might be an understatement. And
manlets into insanity. Yeah, I guess they are, but they both are pretty short.
Those are just the manlets we know about right now.
Yeah, there's potentially going to be one in at least every chapter. So we're going to have a whole gaggle of them at some point.
So, not a lot to go on, but I should have mentioned it.
Coming from the sea. It's not a new song, but I can't... Okay.
When you name yourself Chris, Susie, or Noelle in the opening, the narrator, who is presumably Gaster, says, "You are about to meet someone very, very wonderful." It's no very, very interesting, but it's pretty close. Also, this only works for Chris, Susie, and Noelle. Not Toriel, not Temmie, not Birdly, not Sans, and certainly not Papyrus. They all get a "how interesting."
So we can get from this that those people are not wonderful. They are not wonderful at all.
And Ralsei over here, he doesn't get anything. He just gets the typical response. How suspicious. Eggman. Can't believe I neglected to bring him up. In both chapters, there is a secret room that has a slim chance to appear between two other rooms. In chapter 1, it's between the Starwalker room and the room with the big revolving thingy and the hidden switch. You know the one. You enter in and out over and over.
Oh god, I'm getting PTSD. Okay, that's the thing, like, there's the thing where I've redone chapters 1 and 2 to try to get, you know, more stuff and prepare for chapter 3 when those eventually come out. I wanted to try to get the eggs just so I could say, hey, put them in the fridge and, you know, try to get 100%, you know, that sort of thing, for when the game actually comes out. I tried doing, in chapter 1, I tried doing that for like 45 minutes and I got absolutely nothing. Do that sort of thing. I cannot do it.
And eventually you will find yourself in a minimalist room with strange music. There is a singular tree. Go up to the tree and it will say he is behind the tree. You go behind it and a man will hand you an egg and then disappear. Well, there is not a man here. You can put the egg in Asgore's fridge.
Worth noting that while Dark World items manifest as household objects in the Light World, the egg is still an egg. The egg is still an egg. Oh god, that sounds like surprisingly ominous out of context.
Then in chapter 2, it's even more involved. You have to go to the dog room, then die by his paws, and then this graffiti will tell you that there is a room between rooms. I am unsure if you have to find the one knockable door that makes Chris break the second-person narration. Go back and forth again and again and again.
Hell. This is hell.
And you'll get to another secret room with the same chapter 1 tree. The man is happy to see you, and will give you a second egg. You can put that egg in Sans's egg stack in his 7-Eleven. Eggman is notable in regard to Gaster because, well, he might be Gaster. He's a mysterious man who appears and disappears and shows up in a very rare secret room. I think I didn't bring him up initially because I simply did not have any real proof. He has a lot in common with Gaster though, or at least who we're pretty sure is Gaster, but that's about it. Perhaps
Yeah, that's about it. That's about what I expected.
Mystery Man is not Gaster, but is Eggman. I don't know. Gaster follower guy. What the hell is up with him? Well, I showed the secret room in Undertale in my video. I neglected to show how one actually gets there. See, if you keep reloading on a pacifist run at the Hall of Judgment from the point before Sans judges you, Sans will demonstrate how he remembers things, even if they weren't saved, through his little jokes. After several times of doing this, Sans will give you the key to his room, saying that it's time you know the truth. When you go into his room after an ominous long walk down a dark hallway, the lights turn on, and the truth is we got owned.
Walked on a treadmill. Oh my god, you know, I completely forgot about that. I completely forgot that the teleporting doors in Deltarune are Sans' bedroom door. Oh god.
In Sans' room, you can find another key, which unlocks the hidden back door to their house, which is where the mysterious machine that no one can fix is. In addition to the machine, there is also a badge and a picture with 3 smiling people that reads, "Don't forget" on it. Deltarune's main theme notably includes the words, "Don't forget" in it.
Don't forget, I'm with you in the dark.
Leading me to my question, is Gaster the one who doesn't want me to forget that he's with me in the dark? Song's not so
that's
sweet
freaky.
anymore suddenly.
Actually, wait a second, Hugo. I remember that whole thing about, like, the badge and the 3 people smiling in the photos. I remember that was one of the key points in, like, the old game theory video of like, MatPat talking about how Sans was actually Ness, and, like, Ness got transported to a different world, you know, all that sort of shenanigans. But, I mean, the fact that... Granted, I have no idea how long, or the idea for Deltarune has been around, whether it came into being around the time of Undertale, or if it came into existence shortly after or something like that. But I mean, the idea that something like that might have been foreshadowing for Deltarune, you know, the 3 people, Rouse, Chris, and Susie, and the badge, which, I forget, but there's like a couple of badges or something you can get as like equipable items. Well, like the idea that might have been foreshadowing, man, that's nuts.
Unless Gaster loves me and wants to keep me safe, of course, in this fanfiction I wrote. The badge is still a mystery.
No.
Yeah, get your Sans' Nest jokes out of your system in the comments. Deltarune
I'm way ahead of you there.
still has many chapters left. There's lots more time to get a plot-relevant badge. If we do, I'm going to lose my goddamn mind so hard I'm going to have a major brain aneurysm and Toby Fox will be indirectly responsible for my death. But yeah, that's the secret room. I was so focused on people not knowing about Gaster that I didn't consider what other secrets might have become obscure. And like, that's kind of neat. All these things were meant to be fun little secrets harkening back to the SNES days where players could just stumble onto things that not everybody knew about. But with the nature of the internet and people being able to decompile games now, there are no more secrets. Everyone knows everything. But once the wave of popularity dies down and new fans play it without looking anything up, it goes back to being a little secret. Another tidbit of information that a lot of people brought up that I simply do not know what to do with is the shopkeeper bunny in Snowden saying that Sans and Papyrus just kind of showed up one day and asserted themselves. This is just vague enough to fit any theory you got. Now,
yeah, that was the thing. Like, I remember specifically, like, you know, a couple of theories talk about how, like, the 2 people that Gaster was talking about in his audio file were Sans and Papyrus, or that Sans and Papyrus were, like, creations of Gaster, and he's, like, their dad, given that, or something. Sans has Gaster blasters. But, like, again, that's one of those things that you kind of forget about. It's really weird how, like, oh, they just sort of live here. No, like, for us, it's just sort of like, oh, they just live here. They're just more funny people that live in the town. But no, it's like the people in the town's like, oh yeah, those 2 weirdos, they just appeared one day.
I knew about this line already, but it doesn't really prove anything, so I didn't bring it up. But I suppose I can address what others think. So, theory time. Some fans theorize that Sans and Papyrus showing up one day, in addition to the above secret room, could help the theory that the skeletons are actually Deltarune characters that were displaced into Undertale. Others say that because Gaster fell into the core and everyone forgot he existed, it seemed that Sans and Papyrus had come out of nowhere when really they were already well established in Snowden. You know, people would be like, oh hey, there goes Wingdings boys, what nice young men. But if they forget Wingdings exist, then they'll be like, hey, where'd those skeletons come from? But there isn't much else backing these theories up.
I remember, going back on that, I do remember one other one where it's not like Gaster created them, and this, granted, when I'm talking about this was like really old, really far off, a way ago. But there was this one, like, I hesitate to even call it a full theory, but somebody theorized that Sans and Papyrus were like the fragments of Gaster, as he'd been like split into 2 people or something from falling into his creation, and that's why they just sort of appeared one day and asserted themselves. Again, a lot of weird stuff around Gaster.
These are pretty vague and unprovable, though I find them very compelling. My face value interpretation has always been that it was just saying that Sans and Papyrus very suddenly moved into town with very little preamble, like they didn't go house hunting, Sans just bought the first house that was available. Now, why that is could have vague, unprovable theories attached to it, like why'd they have to move so suddenly? It's almost like their royal scientist legal guardian suddenly disappeared into a geothermal energy plant and they could no longer live in the nice spacious lab being paid for by the taxpayers, and they had to move somewhere else as quickly as possible. Yeah, I don't know about this one. It could be for Gaster reasons, or it's just exactly what it says. Toby Fox is gaslighting me. There was also some official
Toby
Undertale
Fox is a
Q&A
lot of
thing where
stuff.
Papyrus answered questions. Someone asked Papyrus about his life before Snowden, which he only has vague memories of. He mentions he remembers green grass before Sans interrupts. This could be suggesting several things. One, this could support the Sans and Papyrus are from the Deltarune universe theory, as monsters live on the surface with very little conflict there. Two, Sans and Papyrus were around when monsters still lived on the surface in Undertale, possibly making them much older than most other monsters. And maybe monsters were banished underground when Papyrus was very young, so he remembers it, but not very well. Or three, for some reason, Papyrus had access to one of the two places in the underground to have green grass, where Frisk falls down at the start in what is essentially Toriel's front yard, or in Asgore's castle where he grows his flowers. Since Gaster was the royal scientist and the skeletons are presumed related, it could make sense that Papyrus would have vague memories of spending time in the castle. I don't know, I'd be genuinely fucking floored if any of this was ever acknowledged again. I mean,
that's a
I'd
lot of
love it.
weird little
Undertale and
tidbits going
Deltarune
on
have
here.
become some of the greatest joys of my life, and I will take anything Toby and his team want to put in front of me, but I don't know. So, I'm sure I forgot something else. Some vague, unprovable theory about December holiday being lost in the dark world with Gaster, probably, because I can never do anything right the first time. But I don't think I will be delving into Wingdings again until the next chapters are out and we get more tidbits. I didn't want to talk about him at all again till chapter 3, but that's taking a little bit, so I just decided to make this. I'm trying to do more YouTube this year. It's my New Year's resolution, and the 4-hour Shazam video I'm working on is taking a bit longer than I wanted it to. I'm sure all the people watching my Gaster video will be so interested in that. Okay, that's all. Pray for Papyrus for chapter 3 and 4. Pray to Gaster for more Jevil. I love Spamton, but I'm bitter that my boy Jevil didn't get the fraction of the subplot that Spamton did. Hashtag Toby give us more Jevil. Jevil. Hashtag Toby give us more Jevil 2024.
No, I'm good with
The
Jevil.
light is running low and the shadows start to grow and the places that you know feel like fantasy.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God, so much Gaster. Why is there so much Gaster? So yeah, I mean, there's just so many. Like, Gaster isn't so much a puzzle piece as he is like a blob of slime. You can squish him into any weird hole or dent, and he'll fit just absolutely perfectly. Until we get more, like, actual solid proof, it's almost not worth talking about him. Because there's just, like, there's almost absolutely nothing to go on with him. But yeah, so, I guess we'll have to see what Misty Sparkles says in part 3 in another 2 years. So, yay. With all that out of the way, of course, as always, original video is linked in the description if you haven't seen it for some reason. Corner video will lead to my Let's Play of the day. But yeah, that'll be it for now. So, of course, as always, original video is linked in the description if you haven't seen it for some reason. Corner video will lead to my Let's Play of the day. And if you'd like this, give it a like, subscribe if you have not, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.